Welcome to the Fallen State. I'm Jesse Lee Peterson. Thank you so much for being with me. We are doing a town hall meeting tonight. Thank you for coming. The Republican Party is divided today like never before. There are those on the side of Donald Trump, stomping for Trump. Where the Trump vote? And there are those who are for Ted Cruz. And to me, this is the best time of life because it's really causing us to take a look at the Republican Party to regroup, in my opinion. So I think this fight that we're having is a good one. I have with me today someone that I have the utmost respect for. And all week I've been thinking, I gotta have a fight with Andrew. Andrew Klavan is an award-winning author, screenwriter, and political commentator. He wrote the best-selling novel, True Crime, filmed by Clint Eastwood, and Don't Say a Word, starring Michael Douglas. Thank you for coming, man.
It's a pleasure, always a pleasure.
You support Ted Cruz. Tell us why.
Well, to begin with, I want to say that I'm a great believer in the biblical phrase, put not your faith in princes. I've never thought that there's a candidate who's going to save us, who's going to turn everything around, who's going to make the country great again. I don't believe in any of that. I believe it's up to us to make the country great, and it's up to the government to leave us alone. We're left with Ted Cruz to some degree. He is a constitutionalist. He's a brilliant scholar. He's a guy who has argued in front of the Supreme Court, fought for the display of the Ten Commandments, fought for gun rights, and when he was sent to the Senate, he didn't leave behind the people who sent him there. People keep saying, you know, oh, Ted Cruz has no friends in the Senate. He wasn't sent to the Senate to make friends. He was sent to the Senate by a bunch of people who had it with the Senate, who'd had it with a bunch of guys who kept saying they were going to fight, but never did fight, who let Obama run all over them and do things again and again without ever standing up. Ted Cruz stood up. And when he lost all these friends, when he shut down the government over the funding of Obamacare, everybody said, oh, what a disaster, what a disaster. Well, after that disaster, the Republican Party scored one of its greatest victories in the midterm elections. So clearly, people were just waiting for this guy to stand up and do what he did. He's a difficult candidate. I think he is to the right of many Americans, and I don't know if he can win. He's no oil painting. He looks like Grandpa Munster. He does speak in these kind of evangelical terms that I think put a lot of people off. So I'm very worried about him as a candidate.
So why would you support him knowing that he can't beat Hillary?
There are two candidates in this race who are unfit for public office. One of them is Hillary and one of them is Trump. And I think that that's what's so difficult in talking about this. I'm talking to good people, honest people, sincere people, patriotic people who are backing a man I don't think is fit to be the president.
What is it about Trump that you find wrong?
There are three things. The first is character. When a man stands up in front of a crowd of already angry people and tells them to do violence to the protesters among them, when one of his people actually sucker punches one of these protesters as he's being let out, and kid's a loudmouth, no question about it, but he was being taken out of the place, and Trump doesn't condemn that. And he said it a number of times, beat the crap out of him and I'll pay your legal fees, you know, I'd like to punch that guy in the face. We used to carry these guys out on stretchers.
That's the thing I like, one of the things I like about Trump. For the last 8 years, we've been put into slavery. Political correctness gone wild. The liberal, godless Democrats and the media have been able to say and just do what they want to us. The Republican establishment have done nothing. They showed no backbone at all. And so when Trump stand up and say, hey, we can't take this, and these people are coming to his rally, they're going to his rallies. They're not going to those people's rallies. So you can't let someone just come into your home and take over like that. And I think what the problem is, we have not seen a real man in so long, in a big way, in America. So when you see one being a man, you don't know what to do with it.
Okay, no one on this planet hates political correctness more than I do.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I know that.
Political correctness is the theory that if you lie long enough, the world will turn into your lies, you know, and it's utterly ridiculous. But just because of the abuse of political correctness doesn't mean there's no such thing as being rude and cruel. And Jesse, I'm sorry, but when you call people names, when you bully them, when you say of a woman who's running for president, oh, look at her face, she's ugly, that doesn't strike me as being manly. That strikes me as Donald Trump has mastered making the sound of truth without actually telling the truth. And that's what really bothers me about it.
Let's go back to the rallies, Donald Trump's rallies. You have Black Lives Matter.
Terrible.
The worst of the worst. Coming to your rally, attacking you, and attacking the people who are there to hear you, and all in your face. That's like coming into your home and attacking you. If someone came into your home, what would you do?
No, but it's not my home.
It
it's a
is.
political rally.
Donald Trump paid for those places. He rent them out. It's a private rally, and someone is breaking in and telling you that you can't have this rally. We're going to make sure that you don't have it. What are you supposed to do?
But every politician.
Hillary Clinton ran from them. They ran her off the stage. Remember that? And so did Bernie Sanders. Donald Trump is the only man that would stand up. Even Ted Cruz would take off running, I believe. Donald Trump stood up to them. I would think you'd be happy to see that.
I'm happy to see them being removed, and I'm happy to see them being shouted down. I'm not happy when a guy steps up and punches a guy who's already being escorted out of the room. That doesn't strike me as being manly. It doesn't strike me as being strong. It strikes me as ambushing a guy and doing violence, but of taking the political process from words to violence, and that's always a bad thing.
Well, I think that we should defend ourselves when we need to. I don't know what that guy said to him or what caused him to punch him, but I do say that I respect Donald Trump for not putting up with the crap when Black Lives Matter show up and disrupt the meeting. See, you respect that too, don't you?
Okay, so when Donald Trump is not a bigot, by the way. I don't think Donald Trump is a bigot,
no.
and I don't think I don't think he's an anti-Semite. But I think a lot of the people who follow him are. And he doesn't have the strength of character to reject them, which I think he should. So when he was asked about David Duke, he fumbled that ball, not because he doesn't know who the Ku Klux Klan is, and not because he doesn't know who David Duke is, because he had been asked 2 days before about David Duke. He fumbled that ball because he was playing to the crowd. And I'm sorry, I hate political correctness,
right,
but that doesn't mean there's not such a thing as racism. And I think we see it with Black Lives Matter, and I think we see it with David Duke, and I think he winks and smiles at David Duke, even if he doesn't agree with it.
Well, I'll do a short thing on racism. We'll get to that another day.
Okay.
But racism doesn't exist. It has never existed. It's an illusion that the Democrats have used in order to keep Black Americans angry and manipulate white Americans in order to redistribute power and wealth. It's not, our battle is a spiritual battle. It's a warfare between good and evil. It has nothing to do with color at all. And as soon as we start saying that, then it will blow these people out of the water because they don't have real power. If they can't intimidate you with a lie and put fear in you, they have nothing left. So there's no such thing as racism.
There's no such thing as racism?
It's just love or hate. And these folks are hateful people. They hate good. Never mind the color. They hate good. They hate me.
Fair enough, but then you don't wink and smile at the people who support hate, no matter what kind of hate it comes in. I mean, I don't think there's no such thing as racism, but I certainly agree that this is a spiritual fight we're in. And I think that, there's a word that you always used to accuse right-wingers of being reactionary, that we were reacting to people. And there is a certain amount of truth to that with Trump that really bothers me. And I think that what Trump has done is he's got us to answer anger with anger, he's got us to answer rage with rage, and he's got us to answer political correctness with unkindness. And I don't think those are the answers.
Well, Andrew, how are you going to blame Trump for the anger that's coming out of people? He didn't put it there. He may be bringing it out by being honest and outspoken, but you can't blame Trump for the anger of someone else. It was already there.
I don't blame
It
Trump.
would be like you getting married, and all of a sudden, the day after the honeymoon, this anger come out of your wife, and she said, "Oh, you did it to me." You're like, "Honey, I just met you. We just got married. I had nothing to do with the anger. Trump is not to be blamed for the anger.
I do not blame Trump for the anger. I blame him for playing to the anger. I blame him for using the anger to advance his cause without actually addressing the causes of that anger. When you listen to Trump, he has a trick, and I don't expect anybody to like change his mind tonight, but I would like it if people would just watch him a little more closely the way he speaks. I mean, what he does is he nails. We have suffered 8 years, and you are absolutely right about
yes.
this. It's crazy making to have a president who won't say the word Islam with terrorism at the same time.
That's
I mean,
right.
It makes you nuts. You
yes.
know, you're sitting there saying, "This is right in front of me," and he's telling you, "No, don't, who
there.
are you going to believe, me or your
yeah.
lying eyes?" You know, it makes you crazy.
And the Republicans haven't done anything about it.
And the
for
Republicans
8
have been very
years.
weak about it. Absolutely. So
yeah.
people are really angry. So Trump has mastered this technique of naming the problem, which makes all of us who care about truth and who love truth sit up. You know, you hear that noise. And then what he says, and I'm going to fix it. How? You know, what does he have? I mean, these were the other two things I was going to say, along
yeah,
with not having the
yes.
character to be president. I don't think he has the principles, and I don't think he has the knowledge. And I think that, the thing is about the principles, and this is something I want to talk about for a minute. The principles, people keep saying, well, I'm tired of right and left. I'm tired of conservative and liberal. I just want somebody to make things work. I want somebody who gets things done.
Yes.
My question to you about that is gets what things done and gets them done how? Because, if you say you want the economy to pick up again, a king can make the economy pick up. I don't want to live under a king. A fascist dictator can make the economy pick up. I don't want to live under a fascist dictator. I want the economy to pick up through free market principles and through the constitutional principles. And I don't think Donald Trump has ever read the Constitution. And that really bothers me. How can a man do his job if he doesn't know what the job is?
Well, Cruz.
I got one. Right. I got one applause, Jesse.
You can support your. Well, yeah.
I'm rolling now.
Cruz has been senator for a long time, and he hasn't accomplished anything. Yes, he stood up and screamed and yelled, but nothing got done. Yes, he held up things for a minute. He pointed out the weakness of the Republican representatives, but nothing got done. Donald Trump comes along and he says, I'm going to stop the illegal aliens from coming in by putting a wall around the borders. I'm going to build a wall. And then the people are like, yes, thank God. And all the black people were happy because now they can get a job.
No, I hear you. Yeah.
Like, thank God, Donald. We've been wanting this. We've been begging for this. No more amnesty. Put a wall. We need to feel safe again. We need jobs. The public schools are overcrowded. Thank you, Donald. And then all of a sudden, Cruz said, oh, I'm going to put a wall too around the borders. But this whole 8 years, nothing about a wall from Cruz. And Donald's going to put a wall. And then the people are like, well, how will he pay for this wall? Donald said, well, I'm going to make the Mexicans pay for it. I'm going to make Mexico pay for it. And everybody like, how are you going to do that, And then Donald said, well, what I'll do is I'll stop the legals and illegal Mexicans from sending money over to Mexico until we get the wall built. So we have the answer to that. Cruz has no answer for the wall, for the borders at all.
Well, that's not entirely fair. I mean, Cruz did support the Bush law that would have built a border fence. He did support it. Yeah, no,
But the wall didn't go up.
You can't take one senator and blame him for the fact that the Republican Party is broken. I mean, that's not.
Well, I'm not doing that,
but let me just point out about Trump that I don't understand. I've known you for a long time now. When words come out of your mouth, I know that they are the exact expression of your heart, and I know that if you tell me something's going to happen, it happens. The exact opposite is true of Donald Trump. I never know what he's talking about. It's like 2 to 3 years ago, he went and met with a bunch of the so-called dreamers, and what a horrible name for these people who are breaking through our borders.
Yeah.
But he went and met with a bunch of them. He talked to them for a few minutes and said, you convinced me. I support amnesty. Now he knows that people are angry and they want a wall, and he's going to build a wall. He knows that some people out there are racist, so he doesn't know whether the Ku Klux Klan is bad or not.
Who do you think is more likely to put a wall up, Trump or Cruz?
Oh, you know, I think if Cruz says he'll do it, he'll do it. I actually,
He said it before, nothing happened.
He's a senator. He can't go out. What's he supposed to do? Go down there?
Something.
No, I mean, you know, he has fought the good fight in the Senate, in a Senate that has been absolutely derelict in its duty, and he shut down the government with the entire establishment coming down on him. You know, one of the funniest things about this election is that suddenly Ted Cruz is the establishment.
Yeah. Should that make you pause?
No, because come on, they hate him.
Jeb Bush is behind Cruz now.
I know.
That doesn't make you pause.
No, I think that there is something about Trump that is seriously wrong. I mean, first of all,
no. Let's go back to Cruz and the establishment supported him. You don't wonder, well, why are they supporting him? Supposedly they hate him so much.
They feel, and I have to tell you that I feel, that Trump is a dangerous person. Look at his reaction to Vladimir Putin, a genuine tyrant, and he calls him a strong leader. Well, what does that even mean, you know, a strong leader? You know, I hate to go to the Hitler place, but Hitler's a strong leader. You know, it's a completely meaningless phrase. He looks at the murders that took place in Tiananmen Square in China when they just gunned down protesters, and he says, well, you know, at least they acted. At least they acted. You know, there's a fascist, I don't think that Trump is a fascist because I don't think he has a philosophy, but I think he's got a fascist heart. You know, I think he's got a fascist heart. He's got a fascist instinct that is really dangerous. I mean, that's what gets me. That's why he lost me entirely. I mean, I was listening, trying to hear everybody's side.
But it's unfair to Trump to call him names like that. You're doing what the liberals do when they're losing. They start to call you names. They start to attack you. They put this negative label on you in order to defeat you. And we can, I mean, the folks on the side of supporting Trump, they're not calling your people names. They're not calling Cruz names. They're not saying,
you know, I'm saying, so wait, I mean, this is the thing.
So to put that kind of labor on him is not fair to him. And with the David Duke thing, it's not Trump's fault that David Duke is supporting him. If I was running for president, I don't care who support me. I want your votes. Because I want to win.
All right, well, let me...
And so look at Obama. Look at the kind of folks that supported Obama. I didn't hear the Republicans complaining about that. He had every wicked thing you could have on his side, and no one said anything.
But let me go back to that. I mean, calling someone Lion Ted or Little Marco, that's calling somebody a name. Calling somebody a fascist, I don't mean that like...
That's worse.
I don't mean, yeah, but I don't mean that like an insult. I mean that as a literal description of what, you know, a fascist is somebody who basically believes that I am the answer, that the strong man is the answer, that the answer doesn't come from our Constitution, it doesn't come from our principles, it doesn't come from our people. I alone can, isn't that what he said? Yeah, I alone can fix it. That is literally fascism. That's the dictionary definition of fascism. So I'm not slinging mud at him. I'm simply describing what I think, that I think he has an instinct toward fascism, which is a political system that favors the strong man.
What's number three? There are three things.
Number three is I don't think he has the knowledge. I mean, this is another thing, you know. We hear about Trump, he's not a politician. And okay, I get that, and I think a corporate CEO could make a good president. When you don't understand, when somebody asks you what the three major you know, roles of the federal government are, and you don't know, when you don't understand what the nuclear triad is, it didn't actually bother me that he didn't know it once. It bothered me that it came up again 2 weeks later, and he hadn't looked it up. He hadn't Googled it, you know? I mean, even I went, I just want to make sure what this is, you know? Like, I'm not running for president. When he was asked recently about abortion and punishing women for abortion, it didn't bother me if that's his idea. What bothered me was he clearly hadn't thought about it until that very moment. And so he doesn't have the philosophy.
What was wrong with his answer on the abortion issue?
Well, that he hadn't thought about it. I actually disagree with him on the merits, but that was not what bothered me. He has the right to his opinion. What bothered me was he clearly hadn't thought about it. That's one of the major issues in our country.
When they asked if abortion should become illegal, would you punish women for having abortions? And he said yes. Well, wasn't that the right answer?
Actually, I don't think it was the right answer.
Why not?
But wait, that's not, like I said, that's not why I'm attacking him. I'm not attacking him on what he said. Yeah. I'm attacking him on the fact that he hadn't thought about it, and he took it back, you know, 2 minutes later. But why hadn't he thought about it? You know, people keep saying, well, he's not a politician, he'll learn the job. It's the hardest job in the world.
Well, wouldn't you admit that right now Donald Trump is running for president? He's not president yet.
Right.
And everybody and their mama are against him. The liberal media, the Republican establishment, the Democrats, everybody's against the guy. So he has things coming at him at all time. He hasn't had time to sit down and think about what would I do about abortion. He'll take care of that later because abortion is not the #1 issue right now. The #1 issue is winning. And so he doesn't turn down anyone. He shows up anywhere. He's invited and he deals with these things. And so sometimes when you have to deal with something all the time, you're not going to answer. Even though I thought he had the right answer, I thought he made a mistake by changing the answer later. Because, and you would agree that if abortion is illegal, and someone should break the law, they should be punished according to the law, right?
Not necessarily. It's not necessarily the person getting the abortion who's committing the crime.
Why not?
Because it may be the person performing the abortion. And
now you're making them seem like a victim.
But wait.
Wait. Stay with me. So if abortion is illegal, all right, it's against the law to have an abortion, and it's not. And so I'm pregnant. One day men will get pregnant if we keep down this road. And so I go and I have an illegal abortion. Should I be punished according to the law?
Yeah, I would say that that's not the way to enforce that law.
I should not be punished.
But wait a minute, that's not the argument we're having.
He asked if abortion was illegal. Would you punish the woman?
Shouldn't a man living in America in the 21st century, shouldn't he have some sense of what he thinks about this? He's running for president. He's running to lead the country.
I know, but stay with me. He gave the right answer. You have to agree.
I don't agree. I don't agree with that, but that's not the thing that bothers me about it. What bothers me about it is he hadn't thought about it, and that really.
But why should he be thinking about that right now?
Because that's the job he's running for.
But abortion is not the primary thing right now.
We're not electing a savior. We're electing an executive. We're electing a guy to run a government to do certain things according to certain rules. He doesn't know those rules. He doesn't care about them. He can't learn them between November and January.
I got to get you on record for this. So if abortion is illegal, and a woman should have an abortion, and it's illegal to have an abortion, should she be punished?
I actually do not think we should have a law that penalizes women.
I didn't ask that.
That's what I said.
No, that's not what I'm asking.
I think
if it's illegal and she breaks the law, should she be punished? Yes or no?
No, I've said no.
So
3 times,
she should be allowed to break the law and not be punished. That's what Obama is doing. And we are not happy with that, are we? No. We are not happy with that. Why do we want more of the same? This is America. What makes America great, either our conscience punish us or the law punish us. Now we don't have either working.
Right. So let me ask you this. When Donald Trump said that what he wants is a system where women go back to illegal abortion mills, that's what he said on that. Do you agree with that? Is that what you want?
didn't hear him say that.
He did say it. He did say it in the same interview. And I mean.
But I am for abortion being illegal as well. I don't think for the woman, because I work with a lot of women, especially black women, young girls as young as 12 and 13. By the time they're 18, 19, and 20, they have had 4 or 5 abortions already. And they're mentally destroyed, emotionally destroyed, because someone told them that, oh, it's legal to have an abortion, but they didn't tell them what it would do to their soul. And I care more for her soul than I do for some abortion law. Millions and millions babies have been aborted, and so it's a very serious issue.
I understand, but again, I feel like you're dodging the issue here.
What's the issue?
The issue is whether Donald Trump had thought this through.
No.
Remember,
he hadn't.
Remember, only 4 years ago, he was for partial birth abortion. He was completely pro-choice. So he just, and look, obviously, it's a good thing if people change their mind for the right, but he changes his mind according to the flow of politics.
Cruz said that he was in favor of 500% increase in the H-1B visa, and now he's saying he's not.
Right.
Which do you trust? The Ted that was for it, or the Ted that's against it now?
Cruz. Cruz changed
You got to wake up early in the morning.
Yeah, but see, you've got the pad. I don't have the pad. You know? But
he changed his mind.
He changed his mind because he felt that the visas were being abused.
Ted Cruz is a decent, good man. Mm-hmm. He's a good senator. He's well-meaning, but he's not genuine like Donald Trump is. What you see is what you get. You know, I hear a lot of people say, well, Donald Trump doesn't act like a president. You know, he doesn't carry himself like a president. Look what we've gotten from those men who have carried themselves like a president. You know?
See, that to me is a really... Why would you believe Trump when he speaks and nothing he says connects with anything he said 3 years? He changes his mind on the instant.
I mean, I changed my mind on things, and so far nobody else has done or have the courage and the decency to do what we hired them to do. Donald Trump will. And I agree with you that the establishment, the Republicans, are afraid of him, and they are afraid because he's going to destroy this buddy system that they have going on, where they want to maintain power and control and wealth. They would rather have Hillary Clinton than to have Donald Trump.
I think some of them would, but, you know,
because they're afraid of their power,
but, you know,
position of power.
You said you changed your mind, but I know exactly who you are and where you stand. It's hard to be with you for 10 minutes without knowing exactly. It's really.
I know
you know,
where Donald stands.
I can't say that.
Give me one last thing, and then we got to end and start some question and answer. Are you angry when people, when the Trump supporters speak up for Trump and against Cruz? Does that make you angry?
No.
It doesn't?
No. Why should, I mean, that's...
And I'm glad. I'm not surprised you said no.
I think they're wrong, obviously. Yeah,
right.
It doesn't make me angry.
But I want you to speak, and then we're going to take some questions. Speak to the folks who get angry at the Trump folks when they disagree with the Cruz folks, or the Cruz folks that disagree with the Trump folks, this anger that's going on.
You can debate somebody about whether Donald Trump is really politically incorrect or is he wicked. You know, you can have that debate. Screaming at one another, I mean, it's hard not to. I get passionate.
Yeah, you can scream, but don't hate.
Don't hate. Yeah, it's not. It's not. There's no way forward.
That's right. Yeah. I say the same thing. I'm for Trump, but I'm not Trump. So if you attack Trump, you're not attacking me. You know, so that's what this is all about. It's about a heated, honest debate and disagreement. So say what you want about Trump or say what you want about Cruz, but don't take it personally. It's okay to get loud. It's okay to do those things, but maintain the friendship. We're all still Americans. We are Republicans. We are conservatives. We're just at a point in life now where we're disagreeing on who we want to take over from this point. So stop hating one another. Yeah. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back in a moment. You saw me sweating just now? You put a black man under the light with Andrew? You're going to sweat. Do you believe that Trump can beat Hillary?
I don't think he will, but I believe he could. I think a wind-up rat could beat Hillary. She's such a bad candidate that whenever anybody sees her, they remember, oh yeah, I hate her, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, Bernie Sanders, a guy from the 1930s, is beating her in states, you know? So
right.
Like anybody could beat her.
Okay, questions, comments, right here first.
Jesse, Trump says that he's going to make China and Mexico and Japan and other countries be more fair in trade negotiations, but since he hasn't been able to negotiate a deal to have the RNC treat him fairly, how do you think he's going to accomplish that?
I don't know how he's going to do it, but I do believe that he will do it. You know, I read one of his books on how he built his empire, really. And you have to know what you're doing. You have to know how to make deals. Likewise, I believe he's going to deal with the establishment at the convention as well. I know that they're planning and plotting and they're afraid of him, but I believe, without a doubt, when it's all said and done, he's going to wipe them out. Right here.
The Democratic Party has had sort of a history of standing behind, their candidates and always kind of rallying behind each other and not dividing the party necessarily. And the Republican Party has unfortunately, in recent, over the last few years, kind of become more divided with every election.
Yes.
Considering the topic at hand today, what is the future of the Republican Party going to look like, considering all this internal division?
Well, first of all, I think you're right. The Democrat machine still works and the Republican machine is broken. If Ted Cruz gets the nomination, even if we lose, the Republican Party is in better shape because it has its principles soundly stated, and we are reminded of our principles. Like Goldwater, when Goldwater lost, we were reminded of our principles, and ultimately Ronald Reagan put those principles into action. So if Cruz wins the nomination but loses the general, I think the Republican Party will survive. I don't think it'll survive Trump. I think we'll have a new party.
The Democratic Party is divided this time around as well. I think Donald Trump is the most honest, open conservative that we have right now because of what he stands for. And if he should divide the party, if there are people who should leave the Republican Party, I think that's good because what will happen is you will finally develop a strong conservative Republican Party. And we haven't seen that since Ronald Reagan. And I know that there are Republicans who don't understand him right now, but once he gets in, and I believe he will,
good luck with that.
I think our party would become a better party as a result of Donald Trump. Yes?
This is for Andrew. The projections are that Trump is going to do very, very well in the next round of primaries. And at that point, Cruz will not have a path to the 1,237 delegates. If they jump over Trump for someone else, there's going to be a peaceful revolt. So at that point, would you recommend that Cruz steps out?
No, not at all. Look, the rules are the rules. Trump has trumpeted that he is a great deal maker. Let him go to the convention. If he can't get the majority going in, let him go to the convention and make a deal. If he can't make a deal, a convention is the ultimate deal-making scene. If he can't make the deal to get the majority, then everything he said about his skills is untrue. So, there may be a revolt. It may be bad for the Republican Party, but the rules have been set ahead of time. It's not like people didn't know what they are.
Let's go right here.
Hey, Andrew. You stated before that you thought the government was big and bloated. Of the two candidates, who do you think was going to reduce the government the most and why?
Well, I think that Cruz has actually said he would. One of the things that most disturbed me about Trump in one of the debates was they asked him about entitlements. And he said, oh, we don't need to cut entitlements. Cruz has named the departments he'd get rid of, including the IRS, including the D of E, including a lot of departments. And I believe him. Whereas Trump has not said, has never said that he would cut spending. He's never said that. He's always said that, oh, we're just going to make so many great deals and bring in so much business that we'll have enough money to pay for the spending. I don't believe that.
Has Cruz ever had a business? He's never run a business.
No, he's a lawyer.
Right, a lawyer.
He's a Supreme Court.
A successful businessman or a lawyer?
Well, if you know anything about the real estate business in New York, I would say a lawyer.
Are you for Trump or Cruz?
There's one guy who I think will appoint good Supreme Court justices.
Yeah.
And that's really, really serious, a really serious
no question
thing.
about that.
So who are you
that's
for?
why I asked God for him.
Oh.
And I said for years and years and years, please, God, don't give me another politician. Please, God, give me a businessman. And this is what I got.
That's
so
right.
I don't want to.
That's right. Right here.
Both of you, your opinion of the role of the executive office. And we, the people, what should we do on the ground level?
We, the people, hire these people to work for us. And if they don't, we need to throw them out. And the role of the executive office is to follow the Constitution and carry out what we, the people, want them to do. And that has not happened in so long that we have forgotten about it. But it's we, the people. It's not we, the government. And we have got lazy and relaxed and complaining and not voting these people out.
But as for the people, one of the things that really concerns me about conservatives is how hypnotized they become by federal politics instead of local politics. You know, the Republican Party is very damaged right now, but not on the local level. I mean, they're doing great in the governor's offices. They've really reformed some states. You look at Texas, it's a job-creating machine, and that's been hasn't had a Democrat pass through Texas. I don't think they're allowed to pass through Texas anymore. and so one of the things I think that we, the people, should be doing is paying attention to our neighborhoods and our states, as well as, you know, this stuff going on in Washington.
City government, city council, all mayors, governorship are truly run by Republicans, and they're doing conservatives are doing an excellent job of turning cities around.
Yeah, that's absolutely. One of the things, by the way, that always makes me laugh is then Democrats will like take a city like Detroit and run it into the ground, and then the New York Times will run a story about how the Republican governor is to blame.
The white man in the back with the work uniform on.
See the standing room only crowd that's here. Of the 17 candidates who started the presidential race, of all those other goldfish, who is the shark in the race that attracted so much excitement and got us up out here? Trump, maybe? Yes, that's it.
Yeah.
And the question I have for Mr. Klavan is,
Ooh, Mr.
you gave no quarter for Trump not knowing about the abortion issue. Well, you should have thought that through. You should have had that thought through. On the B-1B visa issue, Cruz, H-1B visa, Cruz had how many years? 8 as a professional politician to figure this out? Would you give him quarter to change his mind?
Yeah, no.
Ridiculous.
My problem with Trump is that he changes his mind on principle, and that he hasn't thought through some of the basic questions. The visa question is a detail of a larger issue where we know where Cruz stands. And you know, if you want to say that's flip-flopping, fine. You know, politicians flip-flop. My problem with Cruz is he's flip-flopped on everything, and with Trump is that he's flip-flopped on everything, on immigration.
Trump reminds me of Ronald Reagan, who changed his mind on everything. He was once a Democrat, was he not? He reminds me of Paul the Apostle, who also had a change of heart. This guy is a shark. He's a bulldog. I'm tired of these weak people who are afraid to push buttons.
I agree.
Trump is not afraid to push a button.
The young lady right there.
My concern for both the candidates is I oppose Common Core. And I know both of the candidates do, but my concern is that I know Trump as a businessman, he likes to be in total control. And I don't see him giving up the reins of the federal government, the federal control. And what I do see is Cruz does. And so if you both can address that for me, because I'm really concerned about that issue. I love hearing get rid of the Department of Education. You know, Carter's the one that put it into place.
Right.
Reagan promised he would get rid of it when he ran for office, but he did not.
Right.
Because he thought he could improve public education, which he did not. And every president has stated that they would get rid of it, but it has not. So that's
so
where
why
we're
do
at.
you believe, I mean, Cruz has been senator for a while. He hasn't succeeded at anything. Why do you believe him now?
When you say he hasn't succeeded, when he went against the Supreme Court
No, he was a lawyer then. I'm talking about since being a senator, what has he done?
He's only been senator for 3 years, isn't that right? So 3 years, and hasn't he got like
How long
100
does it
bills
take?
with his name on it? You know, I think the problem with Common Core is the problem with almost every federal policy. It's a wedge. You know, once they get their mitts on things, you cannot get them. You know, they're like zombies. You know, they just start coming through the door and the windows. Yeah. And yes, again, you know, when Trump was asked what the role of government was, of the federal government was, he said security, education, and health care. And I thought, like, really? And then when he was questioned further, he said, but those things should be taken on the local level. You know, because Trump has no philosophy, and because he says whatever he thinks is going to work at that moment, I don't know what he would do. But I think that Cruz has stood for this for a long time, as you say, and obviously he'll take care of it.
Once you give people something and you spoil them, it's difficult to take it away. And Cruz has a personality that he's not going to want to hurt anyone. When the Hispanics and blacks and others start crying about taking the Department of Education away, free education and all that, they're going to start having a fit about it. Cruz is not going to be able to do that. For example, remember when Trump tweeted out the picture of Cruz's wife along with his wife? And his wife looked like this. Remember that?
Yeah.
You thought that was funny, right?
No.
You didn't think that was funny?
I thought that was impolite.
Cruz said, what am I going to tell my children about their mommy? What kind of man say mommy?
he told him to keep the hell away from his wife. What was he supposed to
And so
do?
the point that I'm making is that when it's time to take away this stuff or cut back on it, Trump is not going to have a problem with that. He's not going to care that they're upset. He's not going to care that they're whining about it because he's not into this emotional, oh, I don't want to hurt your feelings. I don't want you to work. I don't want you to earn your way. Trump reminds me of my grandfather. You know, like, you could cry if you want. I'm doing what's best for you, and he's going to do it. I don't think Cruz will. He doesn't have it in him to do that. Take the black guy. He's been waiting. I don't want to riot up in here.
My question is simple, guys. And this is really directed to anybody in this room, you know, who is undecided. What do you, both of you, define conservatism? What is a conservative?
God, country, freedom, Constitution, and individuality.
Okay. That's Ted Cruz all the way.
For me, conservatism is conserving the Constitution. What the Constitution does is it limits the power of the government.
Yeah.
It tells it what it cannot do. And I think, you know, I think that when you let people when you make people as free as the Constitution makes them, you do need God. Every single one of the founding fathers said that. But I don't believe that that's the role of the government. I don't think the government imposes God. But I think in order to be free, you do need God. And so to me, conservatism is conserving the Constitution.
We'll bring the nation back around.
Will you vote for Trump?
It may not happen in my time. No, I will not vote for Trump, even if he gets the nomination.
So if Cruz should lose, you would not vote for Trump?
No, I won't vote for Trump. No. And the reason I won't vote for Trump, that I won't vote for Trump is because you both just described what conservatism is, and that's what it's going to take to bring the nation around as a whole. But Trump does not support that. We're putting all of our faith in the president by doing that and saying that the only way to save the country is the president, and that's not true.
That's right.
We could fight through the Congress.
But we sent them to Congress. Look what happened.
I understand, but you know.
So let me do this because I take that mic from the black man. Would you vote for Trump if Trump is chosen?
I seriously do not think I can vote for Trump. And to me, you know, Hillary and Trump are. I keep saying this on my podcast that just because there are two evils doesn't mean there's a lesser of two evils. The only thing I can say in favor of Hillary is she's evil in a way that I understand. Like I've seen machine Tammany Hall, you know, Democrat corrupt politicians before. Trump is coming out of a place that I don't think we've seen in America, and I don't think it's a place we want to go.
So you.
Yeah, if he lives, the guy looks like he's about to keel over. But.
You would sit it out.
No, I might probably vote for somebody else.
Who is to somebody else?
Well, you know, I'd probably write somebody in. I'd certainly vote down ticket. I don't know. Was he used? Yeah.
You vote for Hillary?
No, I can't. Never vote for Hillary.
Yes, sir. Right here.
Does character matter, or has it been like the Bill Clinton totally kind of trashed that? But does character still matter, and to what degree in the president?
I think it matters 100% because a man or woman without character can't be trusted. And they're never going to do the right thing. But when people are running like Donald Trump and Ted Cruz and others, unless we have already had experience with them, as we have with Cruz, we really don't know what they're going to do. I'm not sure what Donald Trump will do. Right now, I just have to take him at his word. He's the guy that's standing out right now, and he's successful in business. He's, you know, has a good family, and he's proven that he will do what he says. So I just have to take him at his word.
Does his marital history bother you?
No.
But that's a character issue, right? Like
it is.
Cheating on your wife and trading him in every few years.
But find me one person in the country who has not broken the commandments. We all have broken the commandments and deserve another chance. They are saying the same thing about Cruz. Rubio put out this information that Cruz cheated on his wife with 5 other women. I think it's bad that that is out there. I don't like that they're saying that about Cruz. It's not fair to him. It's not part of what should be happening. But whether it's true or not, I don't hold that against Cruz because I see Cruz as being a good man. I see him as being a fair man. He seemed to have a good family now. That's all I'm concerned about. This young lady in the hat.
This one's for Andrew. How do you reconcile Cruz's frequent blatant lies, like his numerous lies regarding his support of the Gang of Eight bill, and his frequent statement on talk shows, social media, etc., that Trump has been liberal for 60+ years, as in from when he was 9 years old or younger, and many others?
In politics, there's a lot. It's a hard, bare-knuckle fight, and you know all of them do things that I don't like, and all of them do things that I sort of think like, well, you know, rein it in. But I have not found Cruz to be consistently dishonest, in spite of the fact that people keep saying it. I keep trying to track down these supposed lies that he tells, and I can't really find them. And so, you know, I've been very open about it. You know, you heard me talk about his looks. You heard me talk about his attitude. I don't worship any of these guys. You know, I do not put my faith in princes. I put my faith in God. Right. You know, and so the only thing is I have relentlessly tracked this stuff down, and I haven't gotten anything that made me really doubt him as a person.
But
that's my answer.
Isn't it true that Trump has given money to Republicans and Democrats because he's a businessman?
Well,
he's admitted to giving money to everybody.
I love the fact that you guys say that like he's not
going to betray you
too. He himself he has said he supported Hillary, that he's a good friend and he thinks she does a great job. He has said I'm more a Democrat.
Let me hear you say he gave money to Republicans too. I need to hear you say it. This is the greatest country in the world. Everybody and their mama are trying to get here. No one's trying to leave. And it's time that we, the people, unite together and say no more. It's a battle for the country. It's a battle for we, the people. And we're not going to always agree, but the love is still there. Let's have a good fight, but still go to breakfast, you know? And don't take it personally, because it's not personal. And I want to thank Andrew. Man, it's been a lot for you to come. Thank you so much.
No, this has really been fun. It's been great meeting you guys.